like to go with my.
All right, so tonight we're going to do chapters 17 and 18. Chapter 17 is the law of priorities. So they say that you can definitely tell your priorities by your calendar and your bank statement. And I can totally see why they say that. The calendar shows what we're doing on the daily, and the bank statement shows all your debit card transactions. So it definitely, I do understand that analogy for sure. And we all are so busy in our lives. It doesn't matter what stage we're in. We all seem to be super, super busy. So what is important to you, and how do you determine what is important? So if you definitely want to be intentional with our time, we talk about that quite a bit. So by being intentional, you also have to learn to be imperfect, but also doing things good, that's for sure, but they don't have to be perfect, that's for sure. So we all know, although we all have to be told all the time, we cannot do it all. We all think we're superhuman, or you think we're super mom, super wife, whatever, but we cannot do it all. So basically you need to evaluate and reevaluate your priorities constantly. And that could change on the daily, it could change on the week, it could change on the month, it could change on the year, but always be reevaluating what your priorities are. So there are definitely some activities in our plexus life that do not equal productivity. Some of them are definitely just for checking the box, which we all do every single day. And they don't lead to anything productive. So thus could be listening to trainings and getting ideas or tips, but then not following through with them. They could be just scrolling through your social media, looking for a business builder. Well, if you had a plan, you wouldn't be wasting the time scrolling. Connecting to people, but never ever bringing up plexus. I understand building relationships. That's not what I mean. I mean, 2 years in and you still haven't brought it up. There's definitely something there. Micromanaging your team, that is not being productive. Coaching, but not talking about the hard things. That is super hard. I think we've discussed that every single week, but it is definitely a necessary evil. So that is not moving, your team ahead if you're not willing to have those hard conversations. So talking about doing things, but never following through, that is not going to lead to productivity. If you know of a specific area that you are lacking and you are not doing training or implementation of that area, that is definitely non-productive. If you are recruiting but not duplicating or retaining, that is non-productive as well. I mean, we all know the analogy that we all hear and use all the time of the bathtub draining. So great if you're a recruiter, but you also have to learn to retain and duplicate, which has been a reoccurring theme here in February, is duplication and training and the word systems, that's for sure. So basically, definitely we all need to be proactive in all of this, not reactive, for sure. If you do not have a plan, then you are definitely going to burn out, because all you do is spin your wheels over and over. And the more responsibilities that you have, then the more you need to learn to prioritize the things that you need to do. So definitely you need to be thinking, you need to be planning ahead. This is where, Bree talks to us a lot about time blocking. And it's a little more understandable if you're unable to do that on weekends, but at least get your Monday through Friday time blocking in. And when you're doing your time blocking, make sure you're also including some downtime or some me time, because you cannot live plexus every single day from 4 a.m. to 11 p.m. You just cannot do that. So make sure you get some time just for you. So, this is where I had a little analogy that I was going to share with you. So I'll have to move my screen down here just a little, but This is your calendar and everything that you need to get done. So this is your little cup, and we're going to make your cup runneth over, that's for sure. I wish I had diamonds, but I didn't have any diamonds, Bree. I'm sorry. So all I have is sapphires and emeralds, and I thought it was open, but I guess it's not. So I know we have all seen the analogy with the sand and that type of thing. Oh, here comes somebody. So this would be your time, and this would be all of your things that are your non-negotiables. These are the things that you have to get done. So you think that is definitely filling up your cup because it looks like it's full for sure. So these are the things that you are agreeing that you have to get done every single day, and they're taking up all your time. But we talk a lot about the nooks and the crannies. So I know that you know in here are a lot of nooks and crannies for sure. So these are the things. I'm going to make a big old mess too. So I didn't have any sand, but I did have some salt rock. So these would be the next thing on your list. These are the things that you know you need to get done. Sorry, I'm going to set this down. That you know that you need to get done every day. And it just takes some time. And like Bree says, she works in the pickup line, you know, all the little times in the middle that we can take to get things done. So that is going to go in there as well. So I've got all of those in there. So now you think, well, I'm completely full and I have no more time. I cannot do anything. But then along comes the water, and look, it'll still go in. You can still fill it up and you still have the time. And the reason that you could do all of that is prioritizing. Do the things that you have to do. Then in the nooks and crannies, add in the little things that really need done. And then in the end, you'll get all of the things in there. It's just learning to prioritize your time and do, this is what I have a hard time doing. Doing the things that I hate first. Getting those things out of the way, because then there's a lot of relief to getting it done. So for me, that is reach outs. I know what I hate to do. So I always put it off until last. So definitely learning to do those hard, I don't want to do it things first will definitely make your day go a little smoother. So prioritizing is definitely very hard to do. But you sometimes have to say no to good things as well. But if you don't say no to those good things, you're not saying yes to the best. And that is definitely what we all want. We all have big goals. We all have big dreams. So we've got to learn to say no, even if sometimes it's to really good things. So definitely prioritizing is hard. Just make sure that your vision is clear, that the value is clear of what you are trying to do, and then your priorities will be clear if you have got the other things in line. So, you know, if you have, you know, in your business, if you're trying to prioritize, you know, say you've got 2 hours to work in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, and 2 hours at night. So you have to prioritize what is most important during those times. And everybody's is going to look different. So what's very important to me may not be just as important to Joyce. So, but you've got to remember your priorities need to be the things that move your paycheck. That's the bottom line. None of us are doing this only for fun. I mean, we love to help people, don't get me wrong, but there's not one person here that's doing this only for fun. That's it. So you have to do the things that are going to move your paycheck. And that is obviously going to include your IPA somewhere in there. For us, it's social media. Everybody that's on this call, we're definitely a social media group. So working on your social media, your team building, your team bonding, your team, you know, checking in with your leaders, that type of thing, any type of teamwork, retention, connections, those are all things that we all do, but you have to learn what your priorities are and then move from there. So if you should be, this was in the book, but you should be focusing 20% of, you should be focusing your attention on the top 20% of your team. So if you have 10 people working, much easier to work in those whole numbers. If you have 10 people working, most likely, not always, but most likely, 2 of those 10 are your workers. If you ask, anyone that has 10 people working, and if you say to them, how many are your top people? They're probably going to say 2, maybe 3, but probably 2. So you should be focusing a majority of your time on those 2. Now, you still love the other 8. That's not what I'm saying. You don't just forget about them, but you need to be focusing a majority of your attention on just those 2. So they are definitely going to be, your largest investment. So you're taking the investment on the 20%, but you're loving on all of them 100%, but you love on that 80% too. So, and like I said earlier, the things that you dread, maybe you wait and try to do that last. That's for sure. I know I do, and I am working on changing that. So that way I get that hurdle over, and then the rest of my day is smooth sailing, instead of letting that sit in the pit of my stomach all day, that I still have to do that dreaded task that I do not like to do. So definitely evaluate your priorities, what the needs are, what's going to give you the greatest return for your investment, which your investment would be your time. So what's giving you the greatest return and what's giving you the greatest rewards. So those are the things to evaluate. So your needs, what are the things that only you can do? There's things in your life that you can't farm out to other people. I mean, your relationship with your spouse, you can't really farm that out to someone else unless you're a polygamist, I guess. But anyway, you can't hire a pinch hitter for that one, guys. So that's something that you just got to do. So that is not something you can hire out, Addie, can't we? I love it. So that is definitely something you cannot hire out, Addie. That's yours, baby. But there are things that you can definitely delegate. And I know we are probably all not great delegators. That is Joyce. That is for sure. We are all definitely very driven people, and we're not good at delegating, but most likely 80% of the things that you do can be delegated to somebody else. That includes normal life stuff like housework, laundry, cooking, those types of things. But then, if you're blessed enough in this business, even like a virtual assistant, I mean, they help with things like graphics, reports, doing the giveaways. I mean, giveaways are wonderful, but, you spend 5-10 minutes on a giveaway by the time you order the product, look up that person's address, get it all taken care of, type it all in and get it mailed. That's 10 minutes that you just spent. That's not really probably an income producing activity. So just even little things like that, getting that done. I know in the past, Bree has even looked at hiring a teenager to come in and help her with some things. So maybe you have somebody in your life that can help with the little things like that. And a lot of us struggle because we're perfectionists. So we think, oh, well, nobody's going to do it like me. If that includes even folding the laundry. I mean, I know I like towels folded a specific way, but I am definitely learning to let that go. And just, for the first time ever last night, my son's laundry, his towels, I have folded those towels in that bathroom for 20 years. And for the first time last night, after they were cleaned, I put them on the laundry basket and put them in his room. He is 17. He can fold a towel, and it doesn't have to be my way. He can make up his own way. That's what I have determined. So definitely, sorry, I've got a dog under me. Stop. So definitely the perfectionist in us is a problem. Mom guilt. We all have a lot of mom guilt. Everything doesn't have to be done by mom. Cooking, cleaning, laundry, gift buying, activity running, birthday party gift buying, whatever. Everything does not have to be done. Ladies and gentlemen, out. Sorry. Everything does not have to be done by mom. That's for sure. I know we've all heard Emily talk about the manuals that we all pick up for things. And I have no idea where I got that manual that says I'm in charge of all of that, but that is so not true. Everybody can pitch in for sure. And that's where mom guilt comes in, because you think if you buy a $5 pizza, or if you do Chef Boyardee, guys, or do, go to McDonald's, whatever, that does not make you less of a mom or less of a wife because you bought a $5 pizza. Totally irrelevant. But we do that. We have the mom guilt that says we need to do the gourmet meal, 5 days a week, and that is so not true. So we definitely, all of us need to work on our mom guilt. Another thing is, we all don't slow down to invest the time to teach somebody. So just because I like my towels folded a certain way, I can tell you, I've never taken the time probably to show my son what my way is. And if I did, then he would probably do it my way. But I really don't care at this point. He can just whatever. But what I'm saying is, a lot of us don't slow down to teach somebody to do something the right way, or, the way that we prefer it. So, and the same could be said like of a housekeeper. A lot of us could hire somebody to come clean, but we don't, because we're like, oh, well, she won't do it the way I do it. The sink won't be clean the way I like it. When really, if you have her over and just kind of tell her how you'd like to do it, I bet she would probably do it that way. So anyway, we definitely all need to learn to let some things go, and to, remember that sometimes good is enough, and it does not have to be perfect. So you can basically decide most of your priorities by a little sentence. If I want to grow, I need more blank and less blank. So if it fits in there, it kind of fits your priorities. If I really want to grow, I need more blank and less blank. So, and you should definitely be working in your strength zone. Everybody has strengths. Amanda Stover, her strength would be definitely connecting and loving, and being, she's very open and genuine. So, and then that is so not me. I'm like, let's do this, this, and this. Let's get to the point. Let's get it over with. I'm very straightforward and factual. So we are way opposites there. So definitely connecting, that's her strength. That is something she's really good at. So that is definitely something she should be working in, no doubt. So does anyone have anything else for chapter 17? That is all that I have for chapter 17. If not, then chapter 18, and I do not have a lot for this chapter. It was definitely very, I hate to say self-explanatory, but it kind of is. So chapter 18 is the law of sacrifice, and we are all very aware of the sacrifices that we make. It could not be more obvious to all of us, but a leader must give up to go on. So definitely learning, just for all of us, where we want to go, we know we're going to be making sacrifices. And that is at the heart of anything, not even just our businesses. If you're a mom, you've made sacrifices. If you're a wife, you've made sacrifices. Athletes, think of the sacrifices they have made to get where they are. Think of those Olympians that you're watching right now. They have made unbelievable sacrifices their entire life to get to where they are. Even students, think about them. They give up lots of stuff for their academic studies. Business owners, let me tell you, those self-employed, mom and pop store type people that have a store to go to, look at the sacrifices they make. I mean, they spend lots of time in their businesses. They give up lots of time freedom, no doubt. So every leader makes sacrifices. If you do not make a sacrifice, you're not going to be successful. Truly, there's always going to be some kind of a trade. You're going to definitely sacrifice something for something, no doubt. Moms, we definitely give up lots. I mean, think of all the time that you give up. Think of you give up lots of sleep. Most likely you're the ones that probably got up with the infants. I mean, most of the time it was me. So moms definitely give up a lot of things. But then the ultimate sacrifice was Jesus. Look what he gave up for all of us, for everybody on this call. So definitely there was nobody, no great leader is immune to not having the sacrifice. I love the story in this chapter about Condoleezza Rice. I've always admired her, and I had no idea any of her history. So that was very interesting to me. I do think she is a very intelligent lady, and I did like her when she was in office. Very poised and very graceful, and I was amazed by her family history and her history. I had no idea. So one thing that about this chapter is boundaries. While we definitely all have boundaries, and boundaries are important, don't get me wrong, and we all need to set some type of boundaries, but they also, if you want to be a 6-digit earner here, sometimes you have to give up some of those. And I'm not saying always, but sometimes. Bree definitely can vouch for the fact that sometimes she gives up bedtime. She's not putting her kids to bed 7 nights a week. And she has made a decision to do that. So while she does put her kids to bed sometimes, it's not every single night. So that's definitely a sacrifice that she is making for her business. So what I want to challenge you is, and if you have not read this chapter, I do challenge you to go back and read this chapter about basically sacrifices, there's no doubt. But then I want to challenge you to make a list. This would be your working list. This would be one side of your things that you are willing to sacrifice. And then on this side is your non-negotiables. And honestly, your sacrifice list should be longer than your non-sacrifice list. So, and be very specific. Don't just say, well, I'm not willing to give up any time with my kids. Well, that needs to be a little more specific than that, because there's 24 hours in the day. So as an example, you may be willing to miss soccer practice, but you're not willing to miss a soccer game. So there's the difference there. So, and I totally get that. You don't have, he has a coach, so let that coach do their job. And I understand they need drivers, and that's not what I mean. But, you don't have to sit out there for that 2 hours and just talk to moms. You could spend that 2 hours plugged in and getting your IPA done. Maybe that's when you do your reach outs or whatever. So definitely, I challenge you to make your list and be as specific as possible, not general. So you definitely want to be thinking of, if you're going to grow, you're going to have to make a sacrifice, but it needs to be worth the sacrifice. So if you're giving up those practices, whatever you're doing in exchange, make sure it is moving the needle, not just wasting your time. I've taken my laptop to practices and use hotspots. Yes, absolutely. Use the time wisely. I mean, it's wonderful to just sit there with your Diet Coke and kick back with the other moms and, not do anything, but that is not productive, because that's where you could have been working and moving the needle forward. And then instead of just complaining and saying, I just don't have time. Well, really you do. Your priorities were different. And I'm not saying it's not going to be that way every time. You know what? Sometimes we all just need girl time. There's no doubt. Hot spot in the car when we travel. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Never ever thought about that. That's a great idea. So, maybe it is bedtime type thing for you. And maybe from here on out, you're going to say, look, on Mondays and Wednesdays, I'm not putting the kids to bed. That is when I am working. That is when I'm setting my non-negotiable. I am working. And maybe you, maybe think of it this way. Look at the bond that you're allowing your kids to have with their dad, or, whoever it is that would be putting them to bed in your place. Or maybe you're teaching them to learn to go to bed on their own. So then you're fostering independence, and you're teaching them, hey, here's some responsibilities. Put your jammies on, brush your teeth, say your prayers, all those types of things. So you're also fostering some independence there, and teaching your kids that, they are self-sufficient. While everybody needs their mama, there's no doubt, but, sometimes it's okay. And then you can obviously, let them know how proud of them that you are. So when you are giving things up, they should definitely be things that are outside of your comfort zone. So that's not really a sacrifice if you're doing something that's in your comfort zone. So whatever you're giving up, the result should be something that is outside your comfort zone for sure. If you are, you also need to, we've talked about this before, but we all drag people along. There's no doubt. And that is definitely not good either. So we need to consider giving up the people we're dragging as well. And lack of focus. That is definitely something as well. If you are giving up something, make sure what you're replacing it with is focused, not just all over the place time, because that is not moving your needle forward, and that is not helping your business, and that is not helping you get the six-figure income that you are desiring. So does anyone have anything to add to chapter 18? I knew this was going to be a super, super short one.
It was really good though.
Yeah. Well, I do, because this is like one of my favorite topics to talk about, because some people just think that they're going to come in and not make any changes and not give up anything to.
Oh, what happened? Oh.
There she is.
To get there. Sorry, I don't know what happened. Okay. So I think it was like a quote that somebody said in this chapter, like, it's not sacrifices, but it's what you need to keep up with your goals. True. So like, I think all the time, like, I have all these friends who watch Sweet Magnolias and they like watch all these things on Netflix, and they're always talking about like all these shows or whatever it may be. And I'm just like, I don't even make time for TV. Like last night I could have watched Netflix, but instead I picked up a book and I read. And like, wild Saturday night, I know, but it's like, okay, so did that Sweet Magnolia show move my business needle forward? No. True. The book may not, but it's growing myself. Like, I'm learning, I'm growing, right? True. So Andrea always likes to call them trade-offs instead of sacrifices. So just look at it as a trade-off for right now, because sacrifices aren't long-term. Like the sacrifices that I put in place while our team was in momentum is not the same sacrifices I have now.
Right.
So it's almost like they come in phases, so it's not long-term, and it's not like I'm never going to be able to put my kids in bed again, or I'm never going to be able to give them a bath again. No, it's just like right now, like life is busy and I need to be in my business more. I have big goals. It's like, you want mom to earn six figures, or you want mom to give you a bath?
Right.
Your choice.
That's what I was going to say. You're not the only one benefit from all your sacrifices. It's your family too,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and then it also does give Darren time. I mean, he works too. So, and your kids are in school. So it's not like Darren is homeschooling them and they get all this time together. That's not true. And, while Sassy Pants is at gymnastics, Darren's not out there with her. So, I mean, it's good. That's good time for Darren and her as well. Yeah. So girls need their daddies too.
Yep. And I think it's good that you found like a positive side to it, But I tell my kids all the time, like when they say something, I'm like, okay, mom can skip the Zoom, or you can go to Disney with me,
Zoom on, mom, zoom on.
Yeah. Can't have that. Can't want the new big house and want me laying in bed with you every night or whatever,
Right. Very true. Very true. And I'm totally at a different stage, because my child would think I'm a freak if I put him to bed, help him take a bath, or lay in bed with him.
See, I have nothing here, but still, I could choose, I still get up every morning and I try to get as on many calls as I can. I could lay in there and sleep in bed.
Absolutely.
I'm retired. But
absolutely.
But and I mean, I don't know how big of a sacrifice that is, but it is a trade-off of sleep, or you know what I mean?
Sure.
And then some days, I can't get, I try to get on, but crazy stuff happens because we're still trying to remodel, and people show up and stuff like that. But I mean, and my husband's very supportive about that. I said, I'm getting on my call, and he said, I know.
It's almost your girl time, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's just something I enjoy. It's something for me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, and a lot of times, I'll make time with the kids like that, after dinner time, that 6:30 to 7:30 time. Like people don't have time to like Zoom or do things with me at 6:30 to like 7:30, That's when people are doing their dinners and things like that. So that's when I do spend time with the kids. That way after bed, when business pipes back up, I'm available and ready.
Absolutely.
It's just rearranging things too. You know what I mean? It's just
prioritizing
and using your schedule, your calendar.
I still need to get better at that. I'll do it a couple of days and I need to. That's one of the things I need to focus more on.
It definitely helps. There's no doubt. Even for someone that doesn't run her kids anymore. I didn't think it was going to be for me because, I used to be the one that was running all the time. Kids at multiple practices, same time, different ends of the county. That used to be me. But it's not me now. So I'm like, I don't need no calendar. But yes, it totally helps even someone like me. Yeah.
I have none of that. I mean, you know what I mean?
But it does help.
Yeah.
So, okay. Anyone have anything else? Not, I'm going to stop recording.